Multiplication is a useful math function. With it, you can quickly calculate repeated things without having to add them up one by one by one by one. Before you can multiply well, though, you need to memorize the multiplication table, which is a list of multiples of numbers. You can also call them the times table. Here are the multiples of 1 to 10. This is, it's quite a lot, isn't it? Don't you worry. We'll learn a lot of tips to help you remember the multiplication table in this video. Yeah, having this as a list can be a little overwhelming to study, right? Why don't we turn this into an actual table? We'll start small so you can understand it easier. In this table, there are 1, 2, and 3 in the left column and on the top row, with a bunch of other numbers inside the table as well. What are the roles of these numbers? Let's say you draw a straight line across from number 2 in the left column and another straight line down from number 3 on the top row. These lines cross paths at the number 6. It's destiny. What do we take from this? Well, this is how we use the multiplication table. Every number in the left column and on the top row, including 2 and 3, are factors. And all that stuff inside the table, including 6, are the products. When drawing a line from a factor in the left and on the top, their meeting point is the product of the multiplication. Now that you know how to use a multiplication table, let's see the real deal. These are multiples of numbers from 1 to 10. When you have this memorized, you can tackle any multiplication, even with big numbers. To learn this table, your first step should be to make one for yourself. The best way is to write them down on a piece of paper, and you can even decorate it if you want. This exercise will help these multiples get stuck in your head like a good song. I know this looks like a big table, but look closely. We have 2 times 4 equals 8, but then there's 4 times 2 equals 8 over here as well. Or 3 times 7 equals 21, and 7 times 3 equals 21. Did you notice the identical factors and products? This multiplication table is repeating itself, repeating itself, repeating itself. Oh, sorry. As a result, we can simply remove this part and use the rest to learn. And that right there is half the work cut down for you. Just my style. From the previous video, we learned about the commutative properties of multiplication. Whenever you memorize a multiplication, don't worry about the position of the factors. For example, we have 4 times 3 equals 12, so 3 times 4 also equals 12. All right, let's dive on in and see how we can remember the multiples of each number. Do you plan on learning this by heart from 1 to 10? Sure, that's one way to do it, but how about we try a new style of studying? We can learn them from easiest to hardest. Also, memorizing the multiplication table can be a bit tedious, so why don't we spice things up? I'm going to give you an achievement star for each multiple difficulty level you successfully get into your head, from easiest to hardest. You ready to collect those stars? We should start with the multiples of 1 and 10. Can you spot a pattern here? When you multiply 1 by any other number, the result is always the number itself. And when you multiply 10 by a number, you just put a 0 behind that number and you got your answer. Not too bad, huh? 0 is another number you can figure out immediately, even though it's not on the table. 0 multiplied by any number will always result in 0. Because no matter how many times 0 repeats itself, when you gather them up, it still ends up as nothing. Oh, that must be pretty lonely. Okay, that's our easy mode. Did you remember it? Okay, here's a well-deserved star. You're already shining brightly. Coming up next, we have the mildly easy multiples of 2, 5, and 9. When you multiply 2 by a number, it's just doubling that number, or adding the number to itself. 2 times 3 is doubling 3 to get 6, doubling 4 to get 8, and so on. Moving on to multiples of 5, do you see the pattern? All the products end with either 0 or 5. Zooming in on this a little bit more, when you multiply 5 by an even number, like 2, 4, 6, or 8, the result ends with a 0. Multiply it by an odd number, like 3, 5, 7, or 9, and the result always ends with a 5. Multiples of 9 also have a pattern. Check out their place value. The 1 place goes down from 9 to 0, while the 10 place goes up from 0 to 9. Here's a fun fact. If you add the digits in a multiple of 9, you'll get 9. Let's test it out. With 18, we have 1 plus 8 equals 9. With 27, 2 plus 7 equals 9. And so do the rest of the multiples. Nice! By learning the multiples of 2, 5, and 9, you're getting yourself another star. Now we've reached a more difficult part of the multiplication table with 3, 4, 6, and 8. But don't worry, we can do this together. Looking at the 3 times table, there seems to be no pattern here for us to remember. But here's a little tip for you to know if a number is a multiple of 3. If we add up every digit in a number and the result is 3, 6, or 9, that number is a multiple of 3. With 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. With 15, 1 plus 5 equals 6. And so on and so forth. When you multiply 3 with a number, be sure that the sum of every digit in the answer equals 3, 6, or 9. All right, are you ready for the multiples of 4? If you're having a hard time memorizing these, try the double-double trick. What does that mean? Well, because 2 times 2 equals 4, why don't we switch this 4 with 2 times 2? Now you can double that number and double it again to get the answer. Works like a charm. How about the multiples of 6? What can we do to keep this in our mind? Hey, why don't we use a similar trick to multiplying by 4? 6 is the product of 2 times 3. From there, you can multiply this number by 2, then by 3 to get the product. You can revert it to 3 times 2 if you think that's easier for you to multiply. Okay, here comes the multiples of 8. You can memorize this with 2 tricks. First, focus on the last digit of every product in the 8 times table. Do you see the pattern? The results go down by 2. 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Then they go back to 8 and down again. What about the second way? Here's a hint. We've used it twice in this video so far. Yep, just like learning the multiples of 4 and 6, we'll replace 8 with something else. 8 is the product of 4 times 2. To multiply a number by 8, you can multiply that number by 4, then double the result. Again, if you don't remember how to multiply by 4, use the double-double trick. Wow! Now we have a double-double-double trick! And extra wow since you just got your 3rd achievement star for conquering more multiples! Oh, I'm gonna have to put on sunglasses. The multiples of 7 seem to be the hardest ones to remember, because there's no visible pattern or quick tricks for us to learn, right? But what if there is? Let's draw a tic-tac-toe board and put down numbers from 1 to 9, but we'll start at the top right, go down, and then move to the next column on the left. These numbers are the 1 digits for multiples of 7. How about the 10 digits? In the first row, we add 0, 1, and 2 from left to right. In the second column, we add 2, 3, and 4. Lastly, we add 4, 5, and 6 in the bottom row. Hey, we just got ourselves a 7s times table that is easy to study. Now that we've completed the multiplication table, why don't we take one more look and see if there's anything else that can help us remember this? Okay, if you look closely, you can see that the product of any number times an even number will always be an even number. When you multiply an odd number by another odd number, the product is always an odd number. You can review the multiplication table to confirm these tips. Oh, almost forgot. Here's your 4th achievement star for learning the multiples of 7 and extra tips to remember the multiplication table. Congratulations! You've collected all the stars for this lesson. They grow up so fast. Today was quite a long study session, huh? With the multiplication table and some tips to remember them, you're prepared to face multi-digit multiplication. So stay tuned for our next video to learn all about it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and not miss out on any of our new content. See you next time!